Welcome everybody, it's Salomon. In this video we are going to be talking about Infinite Warfare DLC 4, and we're going to be talking about a recent idea that's popped up in the zombies community more recently, and we're going to be talking about it because originally it came up a couple weeks ago, but I didn't really make a video on it because I didn't think there was that much to back it up. It was interesting, but I just didn't feel like it was enough to talk about. But in more recent time, there's been more information given out to back up this idea. So first things first, let me explain where the idea originated from, and then of course we'll talk about what's happening now. Then after that, I'll do some speculation, some of my ideas on why they might be doing this towards the end. So this idea originated from the COD Zombie subreddit a couple weeks back, and it was by a guy called Cheesy Pancake 69, and I'll link his post down in the description if you guys want to check it out. But what he did in his post, he shared an image that had a picture from Attack of the Radioactive Thing, and on this picture you could see the moon with 4 astronauts standing in front of it. But the thing was, these astronauts were skeletons, and what he assumed, since our characters are going outer space and they were wearing pretty similar looking astronaut suits, he assumed that our playable characters were going to die inside DLC 4. And like I said, it seemed like a really interesting idea, but at the time I just didn't feel like there was enough to back it up. But in more recent time, Lee Ross himself tweeted out this tweet, and I'll have it on screen right now. Also, the image I used was from the guy's Reddit post, so credit to him for that. But returning back to the tweet, so as you guys can see, it says, "That's all folks, all voiceover recordings wrapped up for the IW Zombie season," which is kind of sad to see that the zombie season for our Infinite Warfare is finishing. It is sad to see that, but at the same time we still have DLC 4, and then after that we still have more zombies, so we don't have to worry too much. But it is kind of sad to see that this season is ending. But going on to the important part of this tweet, we could see that he hashtags all the maps that have came out so far and has some emojis that kind of relate to the map, like Zombies in Spaceland, Raven the Redwood, Shell and Shuffle, and Attack of the Radioactive Thing. But then he has DLC 4, and instead of having something that maybe relates to it, because we haven't actually played the map, so we wouldn't even know what it relates to in the first place, but instead he has 4 skulls, and this seems to reinforce the idea that our characters are going to be dying inside DLC 4. And personally, I think this could be a really good thing for the IW Zombies storyline. If you look at it, our characters have had a goal from the start. They went over there to free themselves from Willard Wyler's movies. Whether they complete the goal or not, they would still put an end to their story. Because if you think about it, and this was a problem Treyarch ran into at the end of Black Ops 1, because our characters have a goal. If they complete the goal, then good. If they don't, then that's kind of bad for them, but it will still bring that story to an end. But on the other hand, you could have a Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 2 thing where you have our characters' goals met, but then comes around your next game where you have to continue this story where our characters' goals have already been completed. So you have to really just keep this universe together and just create more goals, which is kind of weird because in all actuality, Black Ops 2 was still telling the story of Richtofen, which Richtofen was the main story character inside Black Ops 1, so it continued his story, which just got really awkward in all honesty. I'm not the biggest fan of Black Ops 2's Victus Cruz story. It was just kind of really weird. And of course, Treyarch realized this problem existed, and that's why they had to create the multiverse, which a lot of people are not a fan of. They like to have a story that is very collected. They don't want the storyline to get too big. And that's not to say it's impossible to pull it off, because I can imagine there is a way. There's probably always a way to do it, but it's difficult to do. Now, personally, what I think they should do, and I've said this in my previous videos, I do think they should bring this arc to an end. And I think that Lee Ross, if you look through his storytelling, he likes very collected stories. Even if you look at his maps, they're very collected. Shell and Shuffle feels like its own thing, Attack of the Radioactive feels like its own thing, Raven the Redwoods and Zombies in Spaceland all feel like their own things. So it just seems like that's his way of telling stories. He likes to have things in their own places, but still slightly connected through that one string. And I really like that type of storytelling. And I think they could do the same thing, because if they continue this story and having the only connection to their next game's story just through one very thin string, I would just love it. And one thing they could do is that they could expand on the great power in this world, or the magical stones, because we heard about those inside Zombies in Spaceland, but they never reappeared, and I hope they don't, or if they do, just a very slight tease at them. Nothing too big, but just have that thing being told, and just have this story build up, and have the importance grow more important, and just explain the bigger story of this world, what's really happening. Because you can have these stories in one area, but then by telling a bunch of stories about different areas in this world, you can start building up your world into where it's something that people feel like they're really a part of. And then once you've built up the world enough, you can start telling those bigger stories. Because if you think about it, this is a very small story. If you think these are just 4 people, these are 4 lives in the greater world, unlike Treyarch Zombies where you're saving the multiverse and all that, which sometimes feels like it's a problem. So if you're telling these individual individual stories with these individual problems, you could slowly build up your world, and then you could have this big story where you're saving the world or saving the universe or something like that. You just have to build up everything around it. But anyways, that's just me rambling for a bit. But anyways, tell me what you guys think about this idea. I wanted to say a couple more things. I wanted to start talking about how it could relate to my theory, talking about how the characters have been dead the whole time, but I think it would just feel really unrelated to what I was saying right there, so I'm just going to leave it out. But if you guys do want to check out that or any other storyline videos I've made, I'll link my playlist both on screen and down in the description if you guys want to check it out. But anyways, that's about it for this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, go ahead and thumbs up, and if you guys want to stay tuned for content similar to this, go ahead and subscribe. But I'm going to go, and I will catch you guys on my next video.